Welcome to the program Inside Council Chambers. My name is Ishmael Mkandla. Today on the program, I've got two guests. My first guest is Cora Ndebele. She's a political analyst. It's good news to have a female political analyst. I'm used to males being the ones dominating in terms of analyzing politics. And also my second guest is Mr. Kilibone Kabo. He's the communications officer at Bulawayo Progressive Residents Association. He's going to be representing the residents on today's program. So I'll ask you guys to introduce yourselves. I'll start with Cora. Honor ladies.
Okay, thank you. My name is Cora Ndebele. I'm a political analyst. I also belong to some organizations, a few organizations that are participate on these things about political things.
Okay.
And it's good that you are saying women as political analysts. You should give us more exposure in future.
Yeah, it's a start. I'm sure in future we'll also be consulting you on other developments.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Kilibone, can you also introduce yourself, Kilibone Kabo? Mr. Kabo, if you can hear me, can you introduce yourself?
Good morning, information and communication.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Kilibone. I am the information.
Mr. Cabo, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, you're done introducing yourself. I didn't get
Yes.
the part after your communications officer, information and communications
Okay.
officer. Yeah.
All right.
All right, moving on with our program. I'll start with you, Cora. I'll keep on referring to your first name. I think it'll do like a call. My first question to you is I would like to find out what is the meaning of political parties now calling public office bearers like councillors and MPs. Of course, we've been seeing this in Parliament, but now it's hitting even closer to us, like the recent recalling of 8 Bulawayo councillors. Where are the political parties getting such powers to recall public officers like councillors?
Okay, thank you. It's all about internal fights within the political parties and also fights within the political parties. Because as we know, the current issue that we have at the moment is the issue of MDCT and MDC alliance issue. So that's all where this is emanating from. And it seems political parties have no control over it. Contrary in that, there was the issue of the High Court issue, whereby MDCT was given powers to do all this, what it's doing now, including these recallings. So it's a challenge that we have within political parties. And it's unfortunate because political parties seems don't have power to control this at the moment. Okay,
I'll come back to you because you are saying it seems like political parties have got no control. But I would like to come back to that point again later. But for now, maybe I can hear from Kilibone Kabo. Your thoughts as a residents association. You've been complaining about corruption and parceling out of land, and now we are seeing the recalling of councillors. What do you say as residents?
I think for us, from what we have gathered from the press, our scenario is not like other cities. For Harare, I know they said that there were corruption allegations, but for Bulawayo, I have not heard of any pointed out issues in terms of why they're being actually recalled.
Okay, but what is your position in terms of the recalling that we have seen? We have now lost 8 councillors and probably a by-election is coming on. Your thoughts about that?
I think it's a setback in terms of us as a city trying to look at development issues, because if you think of us losing 8 councillors, we also have, the councillors have a responsibility to chair certain committees that actually are aligned to develop the city. So now with us having to go again for by-elections, and those people actually chosen, the people went to an election and people voted those people in. So now I know it can be said it's constitutionally based what they are doing, but in terms of democracy, it's actually a setback for the residents, because right now also have budget consultations, and at the moment those councillors who have been recalled have left their constituencies without any representation. So it's really, so now people don't have certain people that they can directly communicate with in terms of budget issues.
Okay. Coming back to Cora, earlier on you mentioned that the political parties have got no control about the recalling that is taking place. But as a citizen myself, I'm worried. Then who do people then tend to, or who do these political parties tend to, in order to stop this recalling? Of course, we have seen the MTC Alliance taking the MTCT to court to stop this recalling, but is it not something that it's a temporary measure? In terms of long-term measures, what can be done? Cora?
Sorry?
I'm asking about...
Please repeat your question, sorry.
Sorry? Can you hear me now? Hello,
sorry, I have a problem with sound. I'm not hearing you. Can you please repeat your
okay, but can you hear me?
question? Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Now I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you now.
All right. I was referring to the point that you raised earlier on, that the political parties seem to not have control over the recalling of these public officers. But my question is, who then do they turn to in terms of solving this? Because we have seen recently the MTC Alliance taking the MTCT to court over the issues of recalling. But is it a permanent solution, or is it just a temporary measure?
Okay, I think it's just a temporary measure, because really political parties have to come down to a round table and sit. Like the issue of MTCT and MTC Alliance, maybe if they could talk and resolve the issue as two political parties, to involve political parties on these recalls, maybe they could be a solution. But so long they don't talk as two political parties with issues, really, these recalls will continue, because it seems as if like MTCT, you know, maybe there are some sort of anger within the leaders towards Kupe and Chamisa. You know, if you get powers, maybe Kupe is just doing what Chamisa did to her long back, you know. So these two political parties have to sit and resolve these issues. Then maybe recalls may be stopped. So long there are still issues like this, they will continue.
Okay, but you're talking about them coming to a round table to discuss about these recallings and reach a consensus. Looking at the current political climate, is it possible for them to sit down? Because, as you are saying, it's an issue of settling scores.
Chances are very slim or none at all.
Yeah.
Because I think it have been tried before, it failed. So there's nothing that it can be done at the moment.
Okay.
The issue is it have a negative impact at us, the voters, you know, at the end of the day. But there's nothing that can be done at the moment, really. We just wait and see, maybe, and hope 2023, next election will give us a better solution to this. At the moment, there's no solution.
Okay. Coming to Mr. Cabo, can you hear me? Cabo?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I would like to find out from you.
I can hear you.
Yes, I'd like to find out from you as a Residents Association, BOPRA, what are you doing? You mentioned earlier on that this is bringing a setback in terms of development to the city, in terms of running of local governance. But what are you doing as a Residents Association, maybe to engage these political parties and find that solution to stop this and concentrate more on development?
Well, for us as a resident association, this news. I think it only came in. But our main worry is delivery. So now, in terms of the land issues and corruption, this stands at a discount. So our question now is, are these people who are going to replace the old councillors also going to get the same deals? Because now that will mean that we are just parceling out land within a short space of time. And that's our main worry, in terms of what will happen when these new councillors come in.
Okay. Cora, obviously we're expecting by-elections to replace the 8 recalled councillors. What's the possible situation or scenario if these guys are going to come back and contest the by-election and win? What does it mean? Hello, Cora. Cora, can you hear me?
Okay. Okay, I can hear you now. Can you...
Sorry?
Okay.
Cora, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. There's a force sound system. I don't know why, but I can hear you.
Okay, I was asking that if these guys were to come back and contest in the by-election and win again, what does it mean politically, the future of these political parties?
Okay, it will simply show that at the end of this day, voters have a voice, or the one who determines who gets into this public office. Because as it is in a normal situation, really, recalling should be done by voters through a direct vote before the official term is ended. But this time we're saying it's another scenario, a totally different scenario from the normal scenario that should happen. So at the end of the day, it will show that voters have a permanent voice about who represent them in these public offices. Because currently it seems the voters' choice is being compromised because of the political parties' fights or internal fights, or whatever they call it.
Okay, but still coming back to you, I know there is a lot of negativity about it. Is there any positive, maybe, about recalling of these councillors? Is there any positive, maybe, to the political parties or to the residents who are the ones who voted for these guys into office? Can you hear me, Cora?
Okay, there are mixed feelings from the public about this. Yes, I think. I mean, there are mixed feelings because of these recallings. And the residents, some residents have already had issues with these councillors. Before this recalling. So now because of this recalling, they're saying it's good, because at the end of the day, the councillors will know and will respect them. Because it seems most residents have issues with most councillors, and they approach the councillors on different issues, and the councillors will listen to their issues. So at the end of the day, you know, some residents, I mean, this is good, because the councillor will know, but at the end of the day, the voters have a voice. Maybe in the next coming election, they won't vote them in, because already there are issues in most residents, because in most wards, because of these councillors. And even in the councillor chambers, is not aware of the issue of teaching lanes to councillors, mayors, and things like that. People are complaining that, you know, councillors are approving some things that have negative impact on the public, you know, like issuing lanes, the procedures that are not properly, you know. There is things like nepotism and friendship within our country chambers. So at the end of the day, residents say they are mixed feelings. Others are worried that, you know, their vote is no longer their vote. They voted for those councillors, that's their choice, so it's compromised. Others are saying it's good because at the end of the day, these councillors were no longer serving their interest at all. They were serving their own personal interest.
Okay. I could not hear you clearly, but I picked one or two issues that you are raising, that the councillors would start respecting the electorate, and because the residents were complaining that the councillors were not were approving things without their buy-in. Coming to you, Mr. Cabo, I know, like the political commentator just said, that there is a positive, there is a negative. There are mixed feelings on the issue. You guys as residents, as representing residents, you have always been complaining. One of the issues that you were raising was the issue of declaration of assets. Isn't this presenting an opportunity for you guys, like Cora is saying, for you to engage the councillors fully and get their full attention in terms of addressing some of the concerns that you've been raising of late?
Sorry, may you please come again?
Okay, I'm saying Cora was mentioning the fact that one of the advantages is that the councillors will now start to respect the residents because they know they can be recalled, seeing their colleagues being recalled. I'm saying, is this not an opportunity also for you as residents now to get the full attention of these councillors on matters of concern, like the approval of land leases and so on?
Okay, for us, it's always we always try and pursue in terms of policy procedures, like as you said, the declaration of assets. But now, as I had alluded before, that for now the recalling of these councillors does not have a fully stated open chapter in terms of why they were recalled. So in terms of corrupt, doing other dealings. So I think to easily understand why they were called, because people may rejoice maybe for different reasons. But if we elect those people to represent at the council level, we expect development. So if someone is corrupt, we would want to know if they were corrupt or not, because at times you may find that it's only maybe party politics that is actually coming into play. But for residents, it may not have any actually benefit in terms of them being recalled for reasons unknown.
Okay, but how successful have you been in previous engagements, like the one where you were saying you want councillors to declare assets as they come in and periodically declare assets in order to avoid the issues of looting and corruption? How successful have you been in those engagements?
Hello?
Yes, I'm saying, how successful have you been in engagements of getting councillors to declare assets? Have you been requesting since 2018? I remember speaking to Mr. Ambrose Spint in 2018, and he was saying one of the things that they want is councillors to declare assets in order to know who owns what, when, and up to the end of their term. Can you hear me, Mr. Cabo? Hello?
I think only 2 or 3 actually declared. Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Only 2 or 3 have actually come out to declare their assets, and from then people have gone silent in terms of them declaring. But of parceling out of land, I think he asked for the declaration of assets.
Okay.
Yes, because and now I think with Zach actually taking Bulawayo issues serious and them coming down to Bulawayo, I think we should be able to use that opportunity as well, since they are actually playing a big part in terms of the anti-corruption drive.
Okay. Are you done?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay. Coming to you, Cora. wouldn't the church have a role to play in terms of resolving some of these political crises that we're seeing, like the recalling of councillors? Hello, Cora? Cora, can you hear me? Hello? Cora, can you hear me? Okay, it seems like we've lost Cora, or unfortunately she is disconnected, but I'm hoping she will try and reconnect again. But still with Mr. Kilibone Kabo, the communications officer for Bulawayo Progressive Residents Association. You are still watching Inside Council Chambers. My name is Ishmael Mkandla. Today on the program, we're discussing the issue of recalling of councillors, and of late we've seen the recalling of 8 councillors here in Bulawayo. Mr. Kabo, I would like to find out from you, now that we have lost 8 councillors, from now up to the time where we have by-elections and have new councillors coming into office, what are you guys going to be doing in terms of assisting the residents, in terms of representation in council and the council issues? Hello, Mr. Kabo? Mr. Kabo, can you hear me? It seems like we've also lost Mr. Kabo, but I'm sure he was trying to reconnect. His internet is a bit unstable.
Usually what the council does when one ward loses a councillor, there is a ward, that they actually designate for that ward to temporary. Hello?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
I can hear you.
Yes, you can continue. You can continue, Mr. Kabo. Mr. Kabo. Mr. Kabo, can you hear me for the last time?
Yes.
Well, it seems like I've lost both my guests as a result of poor internet connection, but I'm still hoping they will reconnect just for the last 2 or so questions. Then we'll wrap up the program. You're still watching Inside Council Chambers. My name is Ishmael Mkandla, and today we are discussing the recording of councillors, the 8 councillors of Bulawayo, and what it means for the people of Bulawayo. You know, the residents are the ones who choose leaders to go and represent them in the council. And when they are recalled by a political party, what are the effects? We're hearing from Cora Ndebele, who is a political analyst, and also talking to Mr. Kilibone Kabo, who is a communications officer for Bulawayo Progressive Residents Association. Mr. Kabo, I can see he's trying to reconnect, and we continue with the program. Yes, Mr. Kabo, welcome back. He's still trying to reconnect. Welcome, Mr. Kabo. Mr. Kabo, can you hear me now?
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. You can go ahead.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, 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 I can hear you.
Okay, I was saying that usually when a ward loses a councillor, the council usually designates an interim councillor, maybe drawn from another ward, to actually be a caretaker councillor. But usually, for example, with Ward 3, which was Gambarami's ward, it was now being it was now under Chikora, who is like,
Yes.
you a councillor will be having so much issues in his ward and barely being able to meet the demands of the residents, and now they have to actually attend to another one.
Yeah.
Go well in terms of development, because it's sort of on a caretaker basis, but that responsibility is now a lot more. So now you think of the current scenario whereby you're now replacing not only one, but you're now having to have 8 areas or 8 wards who will now have interim councillors. So now it will really present a huge strain. So now for us as an association, now have to make sure and follow up so that we see if those councillors are really taking up issues. But I foresee that because already from the press, even in terms of councillors present in committee, so they'll now have to play around with numbers. So it's not only affecting the residents from outside on the ground, but also in the chamber. A difficult time for residents.
Okay. Welcome back, Cora. Can you hear us? Can you hear me, Cora?
Okay, thank you.
Yes, my last question.
Yes, I can, thank you.
Okay, my last question to you is in relation to the elections. We know Zimbabwe has got a history that during the by-elections, there is not much hype in terms of election fever and so on. What is the possible outcome of the by-elections? Will the opposition retain the 8 seats, or we're going to see new councillors coming in from different political parties?
Okay, thank you. There are chances that we will see new political parties taking over in the by-elections. As you are aware, usually when there are by-elections, there is the voter apathy, and people, won't be willing even to go and vote. Less people go and vote. So at the end of the day, the ruling party usually take advantage of that. As you are aware, even the by-election in Country Park, yes, where Muchuru ended up taking that seat from MDC. So that's the possibility that we will see, especially here in Bulawayo. Most of these until there was recalling in for 8 councillors, there are high chances that the ruling party will take over those council seats from the opposition party.
All right. Mr. Kabo, any last words as a representative of the residents on the issue that we're discussing? Mr. Kabo, can you hear me? Mr. Kabo.
As a representative of the residents, I think we are calling for a transparent, yes, again.
Yes, can you proceed? You have muted your mic. Can you unmute it? Mr. Kabo. Okay, I'll give this opportunity to Cora. Cora, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, your last words on the issue that we're discussing, the recalling of these councillors. What does the future mean to the residents going forward, and the political parties, the lessons learned besides being, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Okay. In a normal situation, one will argue and say voters are denied their right to be led by the people that they voted for. But in the current situation that we're facing now, especially here in Bulawayo, we had so much towards the 2018 election. We had so much issues even within the political parties, like the MTC alliance. There were issues whereby there were double candidates in some wards. At the end of the day, those seats ended up taken by the ruling party. And at the end of the day, the voices of the people within the political parties was even suppressed, because most of these councillors or MPs, or they were not exactly people's choice. It was sort of the leadership choice. So I think this should be a lesson to the opposition parties, that even within the internal party politics, let the people's choice and the people's voice be determined who will represent them, not the leadership choice. Because at the end of the day, most of these councillors now, that's why you see Bulawayo having mixed feelings towards this issue of recalling. Some are celebrating, saying if he's now, MTC Alliance is given a lesson, because we didn't even love or like the councillor, he wasn't our choice. But because when it comes to ballot box, people just look for their favorite party. If it's MTC Alliance, I don't even check who's the candidate, because it's Alliance, I'll just put it dates. So at the end of the day, those representatives, they are strangers to the people or to the residents. So let's hope it's a good lesson to the MTC Alliance and other opposition parties as well.
Okay. Thank you so much, Cora. I'll give this opportunity to Mr. Kabo. Mr. Kabo, your last words. Mr. Kabo, can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes. Please go ahead. Your last words.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
My last word, I think the residents, I'll say that my last word, I think as residents, we're calling for a more transparent report in terms of why the recalls were done, so that people can be much more informed, since they are the people actually by elections. People have now more understanding of what's going on at the council chamber, or what was going on, so that they can make a much more informed choice.
Okay.
And
Thank you so much.
I think
you can go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, you can go ahead.
I think it also shows maybe that maybe the residents themselves will actually elect those people. If people can wait out for an election for maybe for years, and then all of a sudden that you hear that people are being recalled, I don't think it's actually something that residents always look forward to. I think more power should be put in the people's hands, the constituency, in terms of recalls, so that when people are not happy with what their councillor is doing, let that be decided by blame and say that councillor is not doing this and that, but recalls maybe are not done. So we should not have unnecessary recalls if there is no case of maybe corruption or whatsoever, or lack of in terms of maximized effort from a councillor in terms of service delivery and development in their ward.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Kilibone Kabo, for taking time to share with us, representing the residents of Bulawayo through the Bulawayo Progressive Residents Association. That was Mr. Kilibone Kabo, is the communications officer for Bulawayo Progressive Residents. And also thank you to Cora Ngube. Thank you, Cora. Can you hear me? Cora? I think we've lost her.
I can, thank you. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I was saying thank you so much for joining us and sharing with us your political analysis of this current situation in Bulawayo and the rest of the country. I hope to engage you in future programs, of course, dealing with politics. It's nice to have female political analysts coming through, so we will continue consulting you on other issues. Thank you so much to both of my guests. I think this is the end.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much. It's goodbye now.
Thank you. Thank you.